Welcome to Odeshi, the Bulletproof Entrepreneur Podcast, episode 11.
If you're ready to take your destiny into your own hands, you've come to the right place. This is Odeshi, the Bulletproof Entrepreneur, featuring interviews with the most exciting and amazing entrepreneurs across Africa. Here's your host, Chi Odogu.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in once again. Just want to thank everybody for continuing to support us. We're now currently ranked the number one business podcast in Nigeria on iTunes. So it's been a pleasure bringing this show to life and working with you all, getting the feedback, the responses, the comments, the questions, talking to our fabulous interviewees and guests over the past couple of weeks. We just really want to give a shout out to everyone that has made this a successful start of the show, and we'll also continue to dedicate our efforts to bringing you the best show that we can possibly bring to your earbuds. Now, I just want to continue to remind everyone to please don't forget to leave a review on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, and Stitcher, simply by searching for Odeshi, the Bulletproof Entrepreneur. That's Odeshi, the Bulletproof Entrepreneur. Additionally, you can also go to our website at odeshi.com and leave your review and share the page on any social media platform, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, or what have you. For the show, it really helps us stay in the rankings and be relevant and get found by other people that would love to enjoy the content that we're bringing. And now let's take a quick word from our friends Enjoku.com before we get on with the rest of the show.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or looking to change careers? If that's the case, I've got great news for you at Enoyaone.com. Enoyaone.com is Africa's fastest growing job search engine and aggregator that helps job seekers in Africa find employment opportunities in the locations nearest to them. You can browse jobs by category and location in real time. No more applying to outdated job postings or convoluted application processes. Join the millions who've used Enoyaone.com to start their career journey and change their lives. Go to Enoyaone.com. That's NJORKU.com. The future is only a click away.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to the show. Today's guest is Eran Feinstein. He's a former airline pilot turned entrepreneur. He founded Enoyaone Limited, and now he's the founder of 3G Direct Pay, a leader in payment processing services in East and Southern Africa. Eran, good morning. Welcome to the show. Could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yes, good morning, and thank you for having me for this interview. As you said, I started as a pilot. It was nice for a few years, quite exciting. But from a very early age, I'm doing technology. I like computers, so I knew that this will be my real destiny. When I quit the cockpit, I started with some companies doing ecommerce. It was mainly in the Middle East, in Israel, for the same airline I used to be a pilot for. And then I had my own companies doing a booking system for airlines. And 8 years ago, and I'm sure this something we'll discuss in details shortly, I came almost by mistake to Africa and started doing online payments in this region. And this is what I'm doing since then.
So let's talk a little bit about your first foray into entrepreneurship after being a pilot. What was your first company, and how did you go about starting the company?
The first company was called Enoyaone. It was initiative I took with one of my closest friends, a very bright person which doing technology. We came to realize that small airlines, mainly in this region, in East Africa, having no access to technology, and we decided to provide them with a booking and management system. And this is how we started, with one small airline in Kenya, and in a matter of 2-3 years we managed to provide the same service to 6 or 7 airlines. I'm not part of this company anymore, but today they're working with something like almost 30 airlines all across the world. So it was, I can say it was a huge success, although I decided to take a different direction after a few years.
So you said you were fond of technology from a very early age. Were you also a programmer as well as a pilot? Or what?
Yeah, you can say that. Even, I still remember at the age of 10, I had my first Apple C after the Sinclair, and I used to program some basic piece of code. I also, my first degree was computer science, which dealt mainly with coding and being a developer. I did it for a very short time, and then I decided that it's more interesting for me to manage other developers. So I still missing it here and there, but this is not something I did in the last 10 years, I think.
Now, we just want to get into the psychology of why you left piloting, because that seems to be one of the most exciting careers around, being able to fly a huge plane. You're just the captain. Everybody loves and respects you once you walk into the airport or whatever. So why did you decide to leave that? Do you still fly?
First, don't get me wrong. Flying is one of the most exciting things that I ever did. It's amazing, absolutely. I'm not flying at the moment. I wish I can find some time to do it, but I will. I will get back to it. It's a good question, and I ask myself these questions millions of times since I decided to do what I did. But I found myself a little bit bored. I know I'm serious. Yes, it's very interesting and very nice being a pilot, but I need to move. I need to create things.
Okay.
I need to see things which happening and developing, and it was a very tough decision, but I felt that something is not completed, and I need to do my own business. I need to develop my own systems. Yes, to use the aircraft which developed by others is nice, but I wanted to have my own system, my own aircraft. So one day I decided that that's it. This is the time. It's a difficult decision, but I'm not sorry about it. I wish I can fly every day, but one day it will come.
Yeah. So let's go to how you moved from an airline pilot in Israel to a technology entrepreneur in East Africa. You said it was almost quite by accident. What transpired? What took place?
It took me something like 4 or 5 years after I quit the cockpit. I used to work for others. I used to be the IT manager of the same airline I used to be a pilot for. Okay. And then I used to be a GM, a vice president in some companies. I never imagined even to be entrepreneur, especially not in this region. But it was cooked inside for a few years, and then one day I received a phone call from Kenya. I never been in Africa before, and someone from the other side of the phone told me that I don't know him, but he knows me. He heard that I know many things about ecommerce and airlines, and he asked me if I willing to come over to Kenya to visit a nice airline and to give them some consulting services because they want to move to the online arena. Now, it's a true story. I'm not lying, but it was a fraction of a second when I told him, you know what, book me a flight, I'm coming over. I don't know why I did it. I took 2 weeks off from the job I had. I came here to Nairobi, and something inside me told me, okay, this is your destination. You're now going to do your own business. And this is how it started. It was almost by mistake.
Wow.
But something inside was ready. After all these years that I used to work for others, I was cooked enough. I felt that I'm ready for that.
You got the phone call out of the blue inviting you to Kenya.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely. Wow. It was nice because it's about airline, it's about Africa, so it sounds exciting.
And up until that point, you had never been to Africa.
Never. It was, and I knew nothing about Kenya, nothing about Nairobi, nothing. But I said, you know what? Let's do it.
I like that spirit. Let's just do it. Great. So you show up in Kenya, and then what happens? Walk us through your first experiences landing in Nairobi airport. Helping those guys.
I was scared like shit. I felt that someone will just hijack me, will kill me, because the stories when you're out of Kenya. Today I'm laughing because people call us all the time, tell us how is to do business in Nigeria. I said no, it's not Nigeria, it's Kenya. It's something like 3,000 miles east of Nigeria. So I didn't know what to expect. And it was quite scary, but I was amazed. And it took me a few months to digest this experience, because those who knows East Africa, it's something completely different. It's a different mentality. It's an amazing place. So it took me a few months to digest it. And I sat down and realized that there is something here. There is something exciting in this region, and more than that, there is a huge gap. There is a big gap that I'm going to fill, and this is about the online payments. It hit. It was like in the middle of the night. I realized that there is something there.
So you just realized there was something there, and you didn't know exactly what it was.
No.
Wow.
It took some time, because in the beginning I was so busy to do the online booking system for that airline, and this is how we started. But in parallel to that, I realized that the main gap, the main business here, it will be the payments. I came from a society where you're having nothing in your wallet, only credit cards. And nothing. You're using only plastic money all the time. And when I came to Kenya, they looked at me like stupid, like crazy. Going to restaurants, asking to pay using my credit card, and no one else is doing it here. Yeah. So step by step, I realized that, okay, this is the big thing.
Okay, so you start with the booking platform. You help them out with that. You notice there's a gap in the market. There's no credit payment system or non-cash based system. Today, East Africa actually leads the world in terms of mobile payments, because we've all heard about M-Pesa and the great things they're doing with that all over East Africa. And that I'm from Nigeria myself, and that is not quite as significant in Nigeria as it is in Kenya. So talk to us about the revolution of the payments in Kenya, what you saw, and how you started your company to fit into the market.
Say again, the line was distracted for a second.
Oh, sorry.
Just repeat the last question, only the last thing.
Oh, talk to us about how you saw the market developing in terms of payments, and how you created 3G Direct Pay to fit into the market and grow.
Well understood. When we started here, M-Pesa was still not available. And what we did, you
started before M-Pesa?
Absolutely. The first online transaction in the whole region took place on 27th of December 2006. It was 8 years ago, and it was processed in our platform.
Wow.
And we started before M-Pesa, and we came to this region when the only relevant consumers were those European and customers from the States, which came to do safari and have some fun in the Indian Ocean. And we just took the model, which was so common in Europe and the States, and put online payments platform in place with the airlines initially. And we did exactly what other companies doing in the States and in Europe. We decided not to try to invent the wheel and to do exactly what is done all over the world. And it worked initially. Those tourists were so happy that now they can pay online using their credit card, Visa, MasterCard, American Express. So we started with credit cards, classic. Of course, we added also PayPal, and this is how we started. It took few years. Even today, the credit cards, they are it's more common today with also the local consumers here in Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, Zanzibar, wherever we are operating. It's still not like M-Pesa. We saw M-Pesa growing, and it's perfect. It's an amazing development. We're very happy with that because M-Pesa, give or take, it's like an online transaction.
Yeah.
Not completely, but it gives the customer the customer feels what it looks like to walk with wallet which having no money inside. This is exactly our concept. We also, of course, accept M-Pesa. We're doing it a bit differently because we allow the customer to do everything online in the internet, which is to take M-Pesa to the online arena. But the market is moving and you came from Nigeria, you know how it looks when you're working only based on cash, everything cash.
Yes.
And we can see it here in Kenya. It's amazing. People less and less using cash and using other options like M-Pesa or credit card and things like that.
When you started the company, were you able to find local developers to help you build the systems and the platforms, or you had to find engineers and technologists outside of Kenya to work on the systems for you until you could develop local staff?
Initially, we started with our own developers from Israel. This is where we came from, and this is where all my team used to be for years. Yes, there was a huge gap when it comes to internet technology, payments technology. Believe it or not, even today, 2014, 8 years after we started, it's still very, very difficult to find experts when it comes to online payments, developers. And we're doing almost 50% of our development here in Kenya because we're trying to promote also this market. We know how to train our own developers. I can tell you that we decided after a few years to move everything into East Africa, and today our main headquarters, the central one, is here in Nairobi, which we're having an amazing team of Kenyans which doing fraud prevention, doing risk management, customer care, everything in the online arena. So even developers, currently you can find everything you need here in this region, which is an amazing development.
You must have been really, really proud and excited to see this development coming from somewhere where you only had to rely on initially Israeli engineers to work with, to now you've seen the local talent develop. You have your own people in place. Your headquarters is directly on the ground in Kenya. How does it feel to watch the company you started from like a baby grew to 8 years old with all these things happening around you?
It's an amazing, it's almost like taking off in amazing jet aircraft. The same excitement. It's amazing because you can see the local staff, the local team, the local people here, which, made a huge. Imagine 4 or 5 years ago, they knew nothing about credit cards, and even M-Pesa was only in the beginning. And now these people here, my team, my colleagues, my friends here, they speak online. It's an amazing adventure to see them, running ahead of me, and I'm proud, and I know that this is where this market is going. This is why I'm so happy to manage my business here in this region.
So let's talk a little bit about the industry and the competition in the industry. Who are 3G Direct Pay's main competitors? Because we mentioned M-Pesa just because it's the most popular payment system that we know across the world. But you pioneered this industry before M-Pesa came about. So who are your main competitors today?
This is quite a difficult or complex question because the market is still growing, so sometimes not all the players know exactly what they're doing. For example, M-Pesa is a classic provider for us. We're using it exactly as we're using Visa, MasterCard, American Express. It's another payment option. And we know how to take all these payment options to put them in our platform. There are some small players in this arena which trying to provide, give or take, the same service we're providing. Local companies, I admire, by the way, some of them. With all the local challenges, they made a very significant progress in launching online payment services. So it's mainly some local providers. The big players from the world, like PayPal and others, are still not so common in this region.
Yeah.
So they are not present here at the moment. I'm happy that for the time being we are the leaders, because we started a few years before the others, and we were highly focused on the same business model for all these years.
So what were some of the main challenges you faced in Kenya? We've spoken about a few of them, like the lack of technical personnel to work with. But what were some of the main challenges specific to Kenya? And you, for example, coming from Israel, you worked a little bit with a company before you started this company yourself. What challenges did you face personally while starting 3G Direct Pay?
The main challenge was the gap in I can say knowledge. Okay. It's not about about the education. People here are exactly they're smart exactly as the people in anywhere in the world. But imagine that I grew from the age of 16. I had 2 or 3 credit cards in my wallet, and this is the way I grew up. And now I'm in a region when everything is different. If it's not cash, there is a problem. And if you already having a credit card or a debit card, you will go to the ATM to withdraw cash and not using it as a credit card. So this is the main challenge, to understand that rules are now changed, and everything I knew will not take me forward here. And it's a very, very difficult moment when you realize that you need to understand how much you don't understand.
Wow.
And it was a challenge, and it takes time. Even today, still many gaps. But once you understand that there is a gap, now it's much easier to start building your business, because you are not trying to build it on the wrong assumption. You know what is the gap. You know what you cannot achieve here, and this is a very, very important moment when you're growing your own business.
That's interesting. So basically, the user behavior itself was the main challenge, is having to compete with the fact that people are only used to paying with cash, to now bringing them to start thinking about paying with credit cards and paying with other different online payment systems.
The user, yes, the user and the merchant. You go into a shop, you ask him to pay using credit card, but they tell you, no, we are not accepting that because it's not safe.
Yes.
So it's both sides of in the same market, the merchants and the consumers. This is why it's a big challenge.
That's good, because I remember even when I was still back in Nigeria, there was a whole lot of anxiety against paying online. People just thought any business online had to do with fraud. And so nobody wanted to do any single business online, just because once you mentioned online, they just believed it was fraud. To now, everybody wants to do business online.
It's funny, because 20 seconds before you called, I just received a phone call from my bank. Tells me, Mr. Feinstein, just for your information, we blocked your wife card from online transaction because we think she doesn't know it's unsafe. So I told him, you guys, with whom you are talking? So, even today, 2014, some of the banks trying to block cards. So it was just before you called, and I laughed, and I didn't know what to tell them, because sometimes you're in shock. But it's okay, because in general, if you're looking at the industry, it's moving, it's changing every day. It's quite exciting.
Yeah. So I noticed that on your website, you seem to blog on the website, and most of your partners, you already mentioned this, are travel-related companies. Why is your business closely tied to the travel industry?
This is exactly part of the strategy. And if you ask me tomorrow what to say to young entrepreneurs which wants to launch their business, I will tell them, guys, be focused. And when we came here a few years ago, the only industry which was relevant for online payments was the travel industry. As I told you, there were no cards here, no local cards. And the travel providers, airlines, hotels, etc., used to provide their services to the tourists. So we started with this industry. And believe it or not, even today, after 8 years, this is the leading industry when it comes to online payments. So we decided to keep our focus on this industry, to be, if we want to succeed, to be a leader, in a significant leader. And currently we're working in Kenya, Tanzania, Zanzibar, Uganda, Zambia, Mozambique, in all these countries, mainly with travel providers. This is why you can see in our portfolio that this is most of our business.
Yeah. Right now you're focused mainly on East Africa and Southern Africa. Are you planning to go towards West Africa or North Africa?
Slowly, because each region is very, very different, and for a company which growing as a company leader, I need to be responsible, because if you take, for example, Nigeria, Ghana, the potential is huge in these countries, but in order to get there, you need to be in a different state. It's a different business, also different state of mind. So we decided first to be focused on East and Southern Africa, and to move very slowly, to take one country, I don't know, for example, Ghana, to do very slow steps, and to be highly responsible. And I'm sure you know Africa, East and Southern Africa, it's a huge area.
Yes.
So being a leader here, it's more than enough.
That's certainly true. So how would you describe your management style?
I'm trying to look, sometimes I'm telling my team that we like a control room of a submarine. We sit very close to each other.
Okay.
We're managing this ship or this submarine. We're sitting in the same level. No one sits above. I'm trying to work in teams, teamwork, where information needs to flow between the team members. Yes, there are some supervisors and team leaders, but everyone needs to know that they need to back up the other members of the team. I'm trying to be as open as I can, and to ask my team members also to be open to share information, to block their ideas. I learned something. I went to visit the Google headquarters in Europe, and it's amazing to see what Google is doing to improve creativity, to give their employees more space, more option to think, to come with some ideas. So we're trying to maintain here a very, very open, very advanced environment.
Hello, Eran. Let's give a quick shout out to our friends before we get on with the rest of the show.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or looking to change careers? If that's the case, I've got great news for you at Enoyaone.com. Enoyaone.com is Africa's fastest growing job search engine and aggregator that helps job seekers in Africa find employment opportunities in the locations nearest to them. You can browse jobs by category and location in real time. No more applying to outdated job postings or convoluted application processes. Join the millions who've used Enoyaone.com to start their career journey and change their lives. Go to Enoyaone.com. That's NJORKU.com. The future is only a click away. We can all do with a little extra cash. Why not just pick up your trash? Wecyclers recycles your trash and gives you amazing prizes or cash for every kilogram of recycled material you deliver. So, pick up those cans, plastic bottles, and bags. Call Wecyclers today. Go to wecyclers.com. That's WECYCLERS.com for more details.
When you started 3G, did you start it out of personal funds or did you raise venture capital or any external funding to start a company?
No, I'm always happy to look backward and to say we did it ourselves. We never ask for anything from someone else. We started with our own money, with my money, and we insisted to maintain a profitable company, and then we took most of our profits back to the company to develop it.
Okay.
So no investors in the last 8 years, everything done by ourselves.
Wow. And obviously it's been 8 years, so that would assume that 3G Direct is profitable and revenues are growing sharply, right?
Yes, we are from day one, this company, we insisted because we decided not to raise money, not to go to investors. So we maintaining this company profitable for the last 8 years. And we're happy with that. There are some better years, some years which are better than the others. But along this long process, yes, I'm happy that this is a very wealthy and stable company.
Oh, that's great. And if a young entrepreneur were to go into this payment field, maybe this year, for example, just fresh, would you advise the person to start with their own funds or raise money? Because I understand that you started with your own personal funds, but that was 8 years ago, and maybe the economics and the situation has changed in the country. What do you think you would advise a new entrepreneur to do?
You know, this is something that my father told me when I was 12 or 13 years old. We had everything in our house, but he told me it's important that you will always feel that you can do it yourself. And if you want to go to work, go to work. So you have your own money. Why I'm saying that? It depends, because you have a huge idea and you need $2-3 million. Obviously, it's not something in your pocket. But I always suggest start by yourself, even for a few months, few years. Why? You will be much more stabilized. You will gain more experience. It's much more important to know who you are, what you can do, before you go to others and ask them for their money.
That's great, because I've talked to a lot of young entrepreneurs, and what they seem to think is that, because they're starting a new company, they have to follow the VC route and raise money. And, they're always quoting their companies that haven't done anything yet at high valuations. And I say to a lot of them that, hey, look, guys, why don't you just start with even $1,000?
Sometimes it's not bad. There are those which made lots of money and they know how to do it. I'm saying something else. My business is not investments, raising money, stock exchange. I don't know. I know how to manage operations, how to create systems. So I started, in a very, very modest way, but I'm happy that I did it because I feel that I can do it. And when I will go out and ask for money, it's not for nothing, because it's for something I already built.
Great. So now, let's switch gears a little bit. Could you tell me about one entrepreneur that you admire the most and why?
Yes, but I will not look at. I will not give you a name. I will give you more like a company.
Okay, fine, sure.
It's a model. There are few models that I learn and I really admire, and one of them is not far away from you in the States, in the East Coast. I know it's highly familiar and maybe it's a bit boring, but when I'm looking at some of the big airlines, like a low-cost airline, look at Southwest. Southwest Airlines, I don't know why, but for years I keep monitoring them, looking at how they did it. They started in the 70s. 20 or 30 years before all other low-cost airlines even thought of the same model. And they developed something from scratch, a new model, a new concept. They knew how to take their employees to different levels, and I really admire them for years, especially the first 20 years of this company. And this is a model I'm always taking and presenting to my staff, to myself. I admire them, period.
Could you give us like one specific thing that they do really, really well that you'd love to emulate in your company?
Yes, absolutely. They manage to share their vision, their basic belief with the employees. And why I'm saying I admire them, because it's not a company with 10 employees, it's tens of thousands. And one thing they're doing, and this is something we're trying to do here, is that everyone which works with us will understand why they're here. Not only what they need to do, but mainly why. And this is something which I really admire, for example, with Southwest, that all across the pilots, the flight attendants, the check-in guys, all of them knows why this company is such a successful one, and what is important for this company.
Okay, so the vision is shared broadly across the company,
Exactly.
and everybody buys into the vision.
Yeah, imagine that you're having now a new employee in your company. Usually, all of us, we just want him to sit in his chair and to tell him, okay, this is what you need to do. Imagine, in our company, for example, in the first 2 days, you will your training program, we are not saying anything about what you are going to do. You just sit down. We're giving you a lot of reading material. We explain you why this company is doing what the company is doing.
Okay.
What is the vision? What are the main ideas? First to understand us, then start working.
Interesting. So now, could you tell us what is the most frustrating thing about being an entrepreneur in your mind?
You know what? It's not. It's a tough question, because immediately I will answer you, nothing is frustrating. No, because no, there are challenges, and sometimes it's difficult, because there are, imagine some bureaucracy here in East Africa. This is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But when I thought of it, it's not frustrating, because it's shocking. It's you looking at it, you are in shock. You don't know how to digest it. So I don't think there is anything which is frustrating. I think there are tons and millions of challenges.
Okay.
If you're looking at these challenges and you tell yourself, don't be frustrated. Don't. It's not something which against myself. It's not because I am here. So maybe I'm a bit different. I don't think there is anything which is gave me a lot of frustration.
Okay, so it's better to just look at it that it's not anything personal, and to come up with a solution mindset to whatever issues and challenges
Instead of frustration, you just need to have lots of patience, especially in Africa. Tons of patience.
Tons of patience.
Sometimes, just that you need to wait to be, and for someone which came from Israel, used to do everything right here, right now. No, sometimes it needs to wait 2-3 months. That's it. This is the way it works here. Period.
I know exactly how you feel with that one.
So I know that So it's not because of us.
Yeah.
So you just need to to change the terms. It's not. I'm not frustrated. I'm just patient. I'm teaching myself that this is the way it should work.
So, Eran, could you please tell us about a very significant personal failure that you've experienced and how you recovered from it?
After this long 8 years, there are some events. One of them, which was a very significant one, is that how to select partners, local partners or international ones. And it was 5 years ago that we decided to select some partners to help us to do something. And it was quite a significant milestone, because we learned a lot about how to select someone that will go into your business, how to meet, how to present the expectations, how to break up. Because we decided at the end of the day to depart from each other, and it's a very, very interesting and tough process, which we learned a lot from it.
Okay, so what were one or two of the lessons you learned from separating from a tight business partner?
Is that sometimes when you need to do it, do it. Don't wait. Don't try to put pink colors and to bend the reality. This is one thing. When you need to take a decision, as they said in that movie, when you need to shoot. This is a great lesson. And second lesson is that you need to admit with yourself that sometimes you made a mistake. That and this is very difficult. That you selected the wrong partner.
And I think that's even one of the hardest things to acknowledge, because it points to the fact that you were the one that did not do what you were supposed to do.
Exactly. This is the biggest lesson, the biggest milestone, I think.
So in order for someone to avoid making such a mistake, what do you think would be a good piece of guidance to avoid making a terrible mistake in terms of selecting a partner, be it a business partner, be it a life partner? What do you think are some key characteristics or criteria to think about and to watch for when selecting such a critical partnership?
Yeah, it's what I'm going to tell you. It's a bit of paradox, because I think the best way to mitigate such challenges and to make sure that you are minimize damage is first to find some good friends. Because so how to find a good friends? But if you're having some good friends, I think the best is to share, to know how to share your deepest thoughts and to find those people you trust. They will not be your partners, but they will be your secret partners.
Okay.
And to know how to ask wise people for some advice, not necessarily because you're going to do it. But it will balance you, because you will hear some other thoughts and it can give you some other different directions. It's very important to know that you are not alone.
Okay. So always seek wise friends that can guide you, so that it's not like you're bearing the whole burden of making the decision by yourself. What are some of the books, software, or resources that have been inspirational to you in your entrepreneurial journey?
First, we developed most of our system by ourselves from scratch. This is one. Although from day one, where we can outsource, where we can use different systems, expert system, we are not hesitating for a second. For example, we are a cloud-based system. It's a completely paperless, cloud-based company. We having zero papers. Everything is cloud-based. We're using a Dropbox. We're using Google Drive. We're using system like Zoho Support, Zoho CRM. We are very open when it comes to software, when it comes to other systems, although the main engine is ours, and I'm highly proud of that.
Okay. So, I guess maybe I can put it this way. Do you have any favorite books that you've read that have helped you develop as an entrepreneur or as a person, professionally or personally?
No, nothing in particular. When I'm downloading books to my Kindle, it's mainly crazy books about things which are very far away from what I'm doing.
Okay. Like what, for example?
I like reading.
Like cooking?
By the way, I'm crazy about cooking. Just give me the kitchen; it will be awesome. But cooking, absolutely. Spying, I like spying books. But old-fashioned, no technology, nothing. Old spies from the Cold War.
Oh, okay.
But one thing is for sure, I'm still using most of the education I received in my first and second degree.
Okay.
The first degree was all about software, how to develop software, and I'm using it absolutely. But also lots of instincts, business instincts, to listen to the client, what they need, and it works.
Okay, so we're wrapping up the show now, Eran. So I just have a couple final questions, and then we'll be done. So, to recent graduates that are just coming out of university and they're thinking to launch a venture, what would you advise them to watch out for or to look out for?
First, I would advise them to take some time, not to do it immediately. To take some time, maybe go to work with some other companies for a time to gain a bit of experience, and then to go out there by themselves. I suggest them to always take the educate. You said someone which now graduating the university to respect what they learn. Always to go backward and see what they learn, and to remember that this should be the basic, and not to be afraid to take the basic they learn in the university and to use it. It helped me a lot when I started to go to the basic, to go back to all the lessons I had in the university and to use it.
And now, if you were to advise someone that is coming, take for example, like you did from Israel, fresh to Africa, and that person wants to start a business, what would you advise that person? Someone that has never been to Africa before, like you were a couple years back, many, many years ago. What would you tell such a person to think about and to watch out for?
Exactly what I told you before. To wake up every morning and to understand and to know how much they don't know. Okay. And to respect, and it's seriously, and to respect this gap, because, if you think that you know everything and you go in there to conquer the continent without giving respect to the people which lives here, to the different mindset, etc., I think you are doomed.
Wow.
And I think that if you know that this is different, it's a different culture, different people, different mindset, and you respect that, then it can be an amazing success.
Okay. So basically, to respect the process and respect what they don't know, and take the time to learn and study the environment.
Exactly. It's perfectly okay that you are not familiar with everything. It's perfectly okay. You can do amazing things here. But remember, it's different.
Now, my last question to you is this. If you were to go back in time, based on your experiences and the knowledge you've gained in the past 8 years, if you were to go back to talk to yourself, what's the one piece of advice you'd give yourself to think about or to look out for when you're just starting your new business?
It's a very tough question. I ask myself the same question many, many times. If someone can, which advice to give to myself 8 years ago? The only advice I think which could have helped is to be a bit more patient. To be more old ox and not the young ox which runs all over. To move a bit more, it's again, it's another paradox, but to move a bit more, slowly, not to run.
Okay.
Especially for these young guys which are now having their own company, they want to run and to conquer the world. Sometimes, especially now from Africa, I can tell you, slow down a bit. Do it slowly.
Well, Eran, it's been a pleasure talking to you and getting these words of wisdom. Being the young ox, as it were, I've fallen into many, many scrapes where if I had moved a little slowly, I know I would have been more successful. But your words of wisdom have truly, truly been inspirational and amazing. I would just love to thank you for spending the time to talk to us. You, before I go, you mentioned earlier about your wife. So your family is currently based with you in East Africa,
yes.
Correct?
Yes, they moved almost 4 years ago. My wife, my 3 kids, we are all here enjoying this amazing region.
Wow, that's great. That's great. So thank you again for just taking the time to chat with us. We really, really appreciate your words of wisdom, your experience, your knowledge, your expertise, and all the exciting things you've discussed.
Karibu. I can just say Karibu.
Karibu. What does that mean?
It's when you're saying thank you, I'm welcome you back.
Oh, okay. And there you have it, guys. A very amazing story from a very amazing entrepreneur. Don't forget to continue to tune into Odeshi, the Bulletproof Entrepreneur, where we bring you the most inspiring and amazing entrepreneurs across Africa. Till next time, guys, I just want to encourage you to, if you have a passion, if you have a dream or a goal, whatever it is that you're working on, just do it like Eran told us a little bit earlier in the show today. When you're ready to shoot, just shoot and see what happens. I'd also like to encourage everyone to please continue to rate and review the show on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. We're currently ranked the number 1 new and noteworthy business podcast in Nigeria, and just the power of you guys, the listeners, that make that happen. So please continue to listen, continue to rate, review, send me your emails, your comments. I've already received a lot of emails and comments from several people across the world talking about different entrepreneurial ventures, especially in West Africa and East Africa. So I'd love to continue to hear more from everybody about what you guys think about the show. Feel free to leave your comments on the website or on any other channel. You can also hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Yes, we do some placement on LinkedIn now. And I'd also like to encourage everyone to sign up for the book giveaway. I decided to extend it till the end of October just because when I was about to announce, actually I got a flood of registrations on our websites with emails, with comments and stuff, and people felt that it wasn't enough time. They hadn't heard about the show, so they wanted to get all the way through the first 10 episodes before they put their email in. So yeah, we're not going anywhere, guys. We're going to be here. I don't know if people thought I was joking or something, but we're going to be here. So just continue to leave your emails at our website. That's the only way for you to sign in and get on our list before we give away the books for the show. I do apologize I know it was only going to be 8 weeks, but now I'm pushing it to the end of October. At the end of October, that's it. I'm going to give away the books and they'll be mailed out and probably reach the respective recipients towards the end of November. So until next time, guys, stay hungry, stay focused. If you have a goal, vision, a dream, or a passion, just go for it.
Don't let another minute go by without taking action to change your life. Visit Odeshi.com right now for more incredible resources, and we'll see you next time on Odeshi, the Bulletproof Entrepreneur.